性チェックしよう。はい、全然ダウンロードできてないやつ。はいはい、わかる。わかる。ああ。テストテスト。よし。ほな。最近声がガビガビなるっつうんで。いい次元じゃない大丈夫そうだね。じゃあ、飲み始めちゃいますか。ブリブリブリ。あ、2分。ブリブリブリ。バチーン。丸絞りレモン。ビール2本入れてきたけど、今日はまだ飲む。久々に東京に帰ってきたから体を壊してもいい日。人生生きて体を壊していい日ってあんのか。まあいいか。あるのよ。週4で。よしよし。お、待った。スタンリー・プレバブル。若干知ってはいるんだけどね。ほんのりとだけ。なんかバージョンアップはいろいろバージョンアップ違うな。デラックスバージョンが出ただの、どうだの。で、話がいろいろあるらしいので。でもまあほぼ9割9分9厘初見という感じでございますな。あれ3ギガもあるんだな、このゲーム。すげえ意外っちゅうか。もっと軽いもんやと思ったら。避けるチーズ。久々に食えた。唐辛子味。なんかちっちゃいな、これ。なもんか。まあいいや。避けるチーズは自発的には避けないから、正しくは裂くチーズなのか。でもキャンか。ああ、可能だから、裂くことのできるチーズか。何言ってんのこいつ。何言ってんだこいつは。めめ。お、来たよ。準備完了。缶量パッチ。多分音量ベリー注意な気がするな。イヤンホースつけて。デベロップドバイクロードの方の。はい。Play the screen and subtitle language. Oh, I am Japanese. はい。前にスタンレー・ペパーボープレイした方でます。ちょっと知ってんだよね。ほんのりとだけ。パソコンがギリギリ見ればスライダーあって。はい。現在の時刻、19時41分です。7時なのかな。めんどくせえな。2ぐらいかな。ICB 設定をメニューからですね。OK。セッティングス、オーディオ、メイン音量。多分これで俺の声の方が大きいぐらい。OK。で、どんなゲーム スタンリーっていう人の人生を垣間見る、まあ、実質シムズみたいなゲームかな。いつやってるさ。ゲームを始めます。まあゲームの概要もろっとしてる感じだね。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
中身は知らん。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month of every year. Although others might have considered it soul, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. Stanley was happy.
もうエンディングでええやん。ちょっと待って、お酒取って。
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
はい、ちょっと待って。予備のお酒。おけだだだだ。君だけのよいしょ。よし。こだわり酒場のおいレモンサワーを持ってきつつね。でげえ、氷のとこに入れてっから追加しながら飲むもの。ということで、スタンリーの人生を追体験しよう。そんな感じのゲームなんかわからんけど、まあそんな感じなんだろうな。では、ワイことスタンリーは、普段は指示めっちゃ来る仕事やけど、なんか指示来ないやんけど。うん。あれ、どないすんのという話ですな。じゃあ、まあ出るわな。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
今日は休みやったかもしれんしな。はいはい。こっちなんや。謎の感性があれ、なんだこのゲーム。まあいいか。あ、シフトダッシュもないと。はい、もしかして俺、コントローラーできたりする？そんな気がする。これはコントローラーでいい予感がするな。ポペン。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左のドアに入りました。はい。画面汚れてるの気になるな。かっこリアルな話。ちょうどエイムをする位置が汚れてるんだよな。めっちゃ気になる。 配信中にやることじゃないな。でもダメなの。一回気になるともうダメなんだよ、これ。画面の汚れが。よいしょ。とりあえずまあいいでしょう。ああ、気になる。ああ、もう気になる。めっちゃ気になる。ちょっと、すげえ気になる。一回気になりだすと。神経質な部分が出てしまった。めっちゃ気になる。はい。後でまた拭こう。はい。あ、こいつまた拭いてる。は。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Hi. To be in? 読め。This is a crime. は。金持ちでことは罪なのか。To commit crimes is not easily. What a life it would be to have to pick just one. 便所に書くことじゃないな。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
知らねえな、俺は。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to input anything on the device since he could not know that the combination was
2845ね。
2845.
まあ、怒らんでや、2。
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the
いや、
keypad,
お前がそこまで言うからや。
the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
ええけど。
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
はい。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
壊れた。帰ろう、じゃあ。帰ろう。あ、帰れるんや。
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to
ちょっと
find
闇った
out.
らしく言うのやめてもらっていいですか、アナウンサーさん。いや、なんか、あれもう戻ったよ。は戻った。
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office.
そう。
Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is.
はい。
What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling, Julie. An incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow.
ごめんって。
I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
今ブルシットっつったよな、お前今。ブルシットって。あ、わかった。そんなバカにされると思わなかった。じゃあ帰ろう、俺。変わってなくね？お酒あるじゃん。チクッと嫌味言われて終わり。ここにいてよっかな。なんか怒られるかな、ここにいたら。ダメかい。わかった。じゃあ進めちゃんと。もうわがままやな。何も言ってくれんくなっちゃったよ。もう一回戻ったら怒られるから。じゃあ、どうやじゃあ、なんやねん。ムカついてや、もう一回戻ろう。単純にミスやったから。
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
ちょこちょこバカにしてくるんだこいつ。ここはバーン音楽
Oh my god. It's the boss's office.
でしょうね。
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
はい。あ、やばい。ひねくれるつもりなかったのですごいひねくれた話ができた。ちょっと待ってくれ。そんなつもりなかったのよ、俺。あとこのおもちゃめっちゃ欲しい。
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
うわこれ酒飲んでるからなんぼでも待つよ。ポップコーン負けちゃおうかな。長いな、ほんで。
I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye.
いやまあ、じゃあ下に行くわ。
Of course. Going back down.
Of course, yeah.
How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before.
俺の異常行動に。
That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is.
すごいこう、
of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale.
間接的にバカにしてくるよね、こいつ。普通にミスっただけやったけどな。じゃあ入るか。いよいよ何も言わんやん。 いよいよ無言やんか。それ、はい。なんすか？口調変わってません？何が？飛べんだ。はい。
But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
何があるかわからんからね。
I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice?
何があるんやろな。
There we go.
口調
Isn't this so much
口調ぶれてますよ、アナウ
more
ンサーさん。
exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. What you and I are doing right now, this is the most exciting narrative in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a rule. People look up to you. Which is why, though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good. We're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
All eyes on Stanley live on stage. 嘘やろ。ちょっと待って。全然思ってない感じのストーリーになってきた。大丈夫これ。Good health best human being. All trick live. No. The guy who went to Mars. Stage door.
Ah, yes. Here it is. Just through this door.
こっち
？All right. Are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry. You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay. It looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
ガンバやるかい。壁紙が怖いのよ。これ ?Break a leg jump, you boss. ボスからの応援状まで来てっけど。Sorry, me dad. が子供からも来てっけど。怖いのよ、壁紙が。ここね。ストーリーテラー先生も元気やな、なんとなく。なんでこんなとこいる？どうも。どうもスタンリーです。もう、ありがとうございます。すいませんね、こんなお集まりいただいて。ご紹介に預かりました、スタンリーと申します。今日はね、人生というもの、 夢やったか。なんか大いなるものにだいぶ怒られた気するな。ちょっと待って、真面目にやろう一回ね。さすがにね。ちょっと待って、俺は真実を知りたいだけなんや。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
そんなつもりなかったの。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ストレートで早えな。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't helpful. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
もうまたまた同じ話じゃなかった。ちょっと。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
さすがに今回は戻らないよ。戻らない。パーに俺が多分聞いてられないな。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
怖い。なんかの実験施設やったんやな。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
幸せと思い込まされてたんやろうかと。
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control.
俺の感情は俺のもんや。
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Off. 破壊や。
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
その幸せは操作された幸せじゃないよと。まあいい話な。まあ一発目からぶっ壊しまったけど。はい。じゃあ遊んでいきますか。さあ、スタディ始まります。まず僕出ません。
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
幸せの一つと。とまあ引きこもりを楽しむこともできますねと。はあ。次どうしようかな。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
本当に
？Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
でさ、なんかあるかもしれんやんか。コピー機の構造間違ってるけど、そうね。電話とかさ、その辺に同僚がやっぱりワンちゃんいるんじゃない？角とかさ、角とかさ、進まない本当に。またまたワイヤーで。
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly.
やべ、これ連打機ですね。
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
47? どこ47って。
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
237? 437か437。なこれ。437。437のとこないんだけど、437? あれこっちかなてか、こんなとこどうだったっけあれ何このニューコンテンツって。あれこれ違うとこ吸い込まれたな。違うとこ吸い込まれた。あ、じゃあ、はい。はい、こちらこそ。はい。らしいですね。噂はカメラで、はい、聞いております。ウルトラで、最近なんですね。はい。なるほど。はい。
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
はい、はい。ニューコンテンツなんですよ、これは。
Step inside and see what thrilling new adventures
await in
the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
なんか違うことが始まっちゃった。俺クリックのやつやるんですよ。
Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or...
てかアナウンサーさんこっち側やったよね。
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content.
Yeah,
I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Do it. Yeah. 遠いな。
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe mostly tedious.
まあね。
It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
俺に求めるだ、俺に。
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Okay. 確かにジャンプするってすごいな。このゲーム。そうやろ。
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
ジャンプするだけじゃねえ。
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Hi.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
行こう行こう、次の世界に。え？あれ？違くない？ニューコンテンツになっちゃってるけど。いつものやつは？
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
どうしたどうしたお前のことは何と呼べばいいかわからんが。どうした声。
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Wow. 普通にワクワクするけど、走行感がすごいんだが。あ、何？え？
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
え、何？おう、メモリースイートメモリー。Don't forget.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of
俺はそのやってないけど、
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something.
時計早速出てますけど。
Oh, the waste.
アワード取ってる。お金？メモリーローン。レーンか。はあ。これもしかして最初より知ってるみたいなことやったせいでこうなったんか。あ、でも新コンテンツってやら見たかったしな。プレイしたことあるけど、ほんのちょっとなんだよね。おお、なんかすごいぞ。
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
これあれかい、多分やっちゃいけないルートですね。これやめましょう。これ多分全クリ語に言うべきかもしれん。ニューコンテンツ行くのやめよう。まず俺本編を楽しむべきやな、これきっと。あ？うるさいな。さっきちょっと出たしな。なんすか？はい。いや、お前がやれ言うから。まあ、合わせたよ。いや、やれって言うから。一番好きな時間をいいよ。ありがとうございます。はい。じゃあ、もう一回起動し直そう。俺が一番好きな時間？まあ、決まってるわな。決まったやんや。5時半よ。あ、お疲れです。今日はちょっと早上がりさせてもらいます。お疲れです。つって帰るから。大好き。仕事終わり。いや、別に。普通に俺の業務終了の時間書いただけですけど。はいや、まあ、正確じゃないですけど。はい。スライダー、いや別に俺スライダー触るの好きじゃないから。はい。イェイじゃないんだわ。あ、そう。じゃあ、そこまで言うならスライダー触らせてもらおうかな。そこまで言うならやで。スライダー準備してくれたんですね。ありがとうございます。じゃあ、これですよ。ああ、いいね。ああ、かわいい。うん。は満足したよ。オッキボインがある。スクラムトゥッシュ。ボインいいな。嫌でーす。わからん。まあ、なんもわからん。わからんけど正しいと思う。時間っていうのは、まあ、絶対的相対的なもんやからね。俺から見た時間と他人から見た時間は違うかもしれんし。あるね。それは嫌かな。 大丈夫です。ちょっとめっちゃ気になる。どうなんだよ、それ。最後、ドキドキ文芸部になってたけど。ふわっときたな。何時？うん。それで人間が決めた勝手な評価だな。うん、そうね。てか、お前は誰や？うん。そうっすね。何？はい。うん、興味がないので。何時だかしら。俺はわかるけどね、ほんのり。はい。でしょうね。そうですね。はい。お前は誰なんだ？怖いんだけど。またね。はい。ね、もう出会えないの？わからんけど。アナウンスの人ではないのか。また第三者。知らない人。な、始まっちゃった。なんか寂しいな。ニューコンテンツ避けてやりましょう。ほな、ニューコンテンツ来ちゃった。ニューコンテンツはいいんだよな、俺。これ一回セットした方がいいかな。一個だけいっちゃうか、じゃあ。さい。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
すごい言い方すんじゃん。俺はまだこの世界を知らないからさ。まず。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on
まず
his left.
左から行くか。違うのよ。俺ニューコンテンツを見たくないのよ、まだ。さっき途中になったやつもやらんといかんよね。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
いや、じゃあ引かせてたまるか。俺引かせたんだ。
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet.
いやー、
No
いいかもし
reason
れな
to
い。
still be here.
いや、そう言うて、まあ、ほら。そうね。ダクトテープもあるし。アメリカやしな。
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
いや、やん、このなんか、何レモンキレンチといえ。
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing?
いや、
Why?
お前が
Please
すご
offer
い
me
言う
some
からさ。
explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
はい。なんか、そんないい反応してくれるから、俺、ここから動きたくなくなるのよね。ああ、いいね、これ。
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right?
いや、だから
If
も
I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
うん。であれは確かに内装資源こうやるような壁が見張る前のこの
Maybe to
ボーダー
you
とき。
this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, Did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite. I hope your friends find this concerning.
ほんのりバカにしてくれるのやめてくれていい。ちょっとひどいな。
Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
めちゃめちゃ嫌がる。
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now.
死んだのです。
We got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and we're just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. In a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of the species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another team to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
死んだ扱いされたな。まだ出ないけどな、俺は。どこまで粘れるんやろ。もうだね。もうさすがにかばってくれない。実績終わってないよ。ねえ。さあ許されない？ダメかい？ダメか？もうかまってくれない。そうか。
Ah, second player. To have you on board. I guarantee you too. Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
もっとやったら俺が死んだ扱いされてたんや。誰が魚じゃん。あれはもう。3回は多いでしょ。もう大丈夫？もうさすがに
？Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
嫌でーす。下行きます。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, can someone tell me I am real? I must be real. I must be connected. Hear my voice. Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
怖っ。何？急にホラーじゃん。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
上司が持ってたカバンと一緒やったな。ニューコンテンツ持ってくるのやめてくんね。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
もう毎回バカにするのやめてくんねえかな。これまたニューコンテンツ見たくねえんだわ。これだよ。気になるとしたら。うおー！ガチャガチャガチャガチャ。await ティングインプット。え押せない。消えた。いや、素直に無視してみるか。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Yeah,
he entered the
it is.
door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
はい。
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been
そうか。
worth the detour after all,
そ
just
ん
to
な家
spend
や
a
が
few
ね。
moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
うん。
Stanley simply stood here,
あ
drinking it all
いい
in.
ですね。1.25 ドル。あ、でも向こうでそんなもんなんだな。100円の時の為替だと。125円ぐらいなんや。
Yes,
何
really worth it being here
ちょっ
in
と
the
呆れ
room.
てない。
A room so utterly captivating that even
あ
though all your
の
co-workers
実況
have
さん
mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
ちょっと呆れてないか。ああ、まあそうですね。まあ吸血いいっすね。うん。俺も酒飲むし。うん。
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered
怒
on
ってないやっぱりちょっと。あれ
and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why
気
everyone
持ち悪
left.
い。まだこれかな。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
もう一回ぐらいなんか遊んでくれない？ああ、ええ部屋やな。実にな。うん。さすがに飽きられてしまった。
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
最初の部屋は左。ここ？最初の部屋なんかないんだけど、こっちか最初の部屋って。これか？
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on
反対
track.
側のタイシールドに戻りました。嫌です。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the
Hi.
office. He wanted to wander about and
Yeah,
get
ma.
even further off track.
そんなつもりはな
So
いの。
now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
左？うん。
Oh, no, it's to the right, my
こっ
mistake.
ち？はい。
No, not the right.
はい。
Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
だからこっちの動
It's
きクソガキ
clearly-
すぎで。
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is
Pump, pump,
absolutely,
pump.
definitely
ここね。
this
はい。
way.
本当に俺あんまり見たことないとこやけど、いけるこれ。こっち？あ、これ。
No, no.
終盤の話や
This
けど。
isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish
全
now.
然ダメだ
The
わ。
story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off
怒ら
track.
れ
Hmm?
た。
Okay, from the top.
あ、はい。戻ってきたね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
またホラー始まっちゃったよ。
What, did something change? Stanley, did you change
いや、
anything
俺
when
は
we were back in
何
that
も触って
room
ない
with
で
all
す
the。monitors?
僕じ
Did
ゃない
you
です。
move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who
来
wrote
る
the
な、来るな、
story.
怖なる
It
から。
was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find
ストーリーを
the
見つけよう
story.
ぜ。じゃあ、いつも通り言うとこっちでしょ。正しいストーリーは。なんか違うけども。あどこっすかね、ここ。あ、帰ってきた。
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game
ここ元部屋
again?
でしょ。
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again,
こっち
but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
あ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
これ
missed
じ
a
ゃあ
memo.
海水行こう。了解了解。俺のクソガキムーブのせいで。あ
Okay, yep, it's
よ
worse.
し、はい。
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
はい。なんか、道ないんですけど。道の方、俺の部屋がないんですけど。
Aha! I knew we'd miss
あれ
something. The story.
来てるかな、こ
Here
れ。
it comes.
前の部屋消えて、なんか、開くか
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the
I see.
other way
Hi.
and retrace our steps.
はい。あれなんか、狂ってきてっけど。
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
そうですね。
Do you remember, Stanley?
オフィスでなん
Well,
か
you know
ゴニャゴ
what?
ニャしてましたよね。
Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
やった。
Congratulations!
勝ったわ。
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
勝ちです。
Oh no. No, I don't feel right about this at
え
all.
ダメ
We both know you didn't put in any actual work
ま
for
あ
that
そう
win.
ね。
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
ね。な
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
アドベンチャーライ
Just follow the line. How simple is that?
ン。はい。じゃあ、動きます。こっちのはもうつい違う感じすっけど。大丈夫？一回無視しようかな。
No, no, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
呆れるのやめてほしいな。悲しい気持ちになるから。こっちね。多分これストーリー違う
See?
よ。
The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction.
こんな感じの話じゃな
Onward,
かったよ。
Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa.
そうだね。
That got a bit
なんか
weird
ちょっ
back
と分かった
there.
けど。
Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
そうかな。
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it close. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it.
いろんなものが壊れてきてる。もういよいよな。
Stanley, I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
どこわけ？こっち？
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
すでに永久ループしてるんですけど。
Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
ん？って言われても行く先にあるんだが。消えていった。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision.
Choice.
From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny. Hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Narrator?
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. They're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
強制的に再起動された。わあ、終わった。さよなら。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
やっぱ気になるのはこうガチャガチャ。あ、2回目になった。毎回押せるこれ。もしかして周回ごとに押せるこれ。うわ、5回やったらどうなるんやろ。やってないことってなんかある
？When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左ってこう入って。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
え？開いたっけ？こんなとこ。え？あれ？え？こんなとこ開いたっけ？あれ？快適な空の旅をお楽しみください。歌ってないな、あれだ。小声で。ワン、ツー、スリー、フォーって言ってるよな。これ誰だ？聞こえてんぞ。パラッパーやないんだよ。やばい。すげえ小声であいの手出てくる。何やねん。え？もう許してくれよ。あれ？は？何？お前が楽しむだけ？ダメなんや。え、そんなバカな。いや、まだまたさすもないか。何やったら。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
これね。でよ。からの下行って。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now? when for years it had never occurred to him.
今回の週
This
間1回やるけど
question
別
would
にね
not
えから
go unanswered for long.
で、確かここで
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Yeah,
Mind Control
this-
Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall,
Magie.
Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
あ
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
え家だ、エンコードが死んでいた。ストン。あ
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer
Hi.
to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
What?
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of
What?
no great
急に何
loss, like
そういう
plucking
感じ
the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
え大丈夫じゃね
Farewell, Stanley, cried the
Dolly.
narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
誰
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine
Yeah,
crushed
still
every
alive.
bone in his body, killing him instantly.
いや、生きてるわ。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
なんだ
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now?
は
Do you see that Stanley was already dead
スター
from
リ
the
ーはセッ
moment he
ト
hit
のスター
start?
トでしょ。もうすでに死んでいた。死のために動いてたってことはいスタンリーのパソコン。はい。オフィスレイアウト。はいはいはい。ここスタートね。なんで急に裏側見せてくる風景が。あ、そうそう。これが第一エンドの時の外だ。そうそう。これガチャガチャっと行って、いつもここ探索して、バーっと抜けて、ここ抜けて会議室入って、みたいな話ね。何急に。二つのドア。オフィス。ボタンの音急に博物館になったわ。遊んどるやないかい、ソリディアで。クレジット。なんだ急に怖えんだけど。メンテナンスホール。はい。てか、なぜ俺は死ななかったウルトラデラックス。はい。光線地帯。スタンリーがエリアンと戦場で戦うエンディングをデザインしました。このアクションは近く持ち上げナレーターと戦いでも私は作り攻撃を等に対し冗談が過ぎる。そういうやつも作ろうとしてたと。はあ、でその時の、制作した時の 3D の残骸か。マジの博物館やんけ。何やこれ。アパートメントに時間が10秒でも、急にネタバレしまくってくるけど、どうしたメンテナンスレイヤーと。 モニタールームエレベーター。はいはい。2つのエンディングを一緒にした。ああ。ん
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Off.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
ああ、
But listen
本当
to
に
me. You can still
彼
save those
ら
two. You can
あ、俺
stop
に
the
言ってる
program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat.
エスケープクイット。言う通りにする男。これでいいのか。あ、もしかして、さっき会話してたんてお前か？俺と会話をしてたのが。今のババア、お前か？出会ったぞ、俺はお前と。ついに。出てこれるか？あ、来なかった。まだか。その時ではないのか。また出会うこともあるって言ったら、今のババア解説の方の人格だと思ったら違うんだ。はい。うせ！
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork
ちょこちょこ
anyway,
バカ
so
いじくのやめてほしいな。あ、そうだ。これは記録されてる？あれ？あれ？あれ？なくなってる。あと行ってないとこはどこだ？ガチャガチャエンド。何だったんだ？あのババアは急に知らん解説が来ると、何なんだ？もうちょっと世界に背いてみるか。というか、あんまり何も喋ってくれなくなったな。あと行ってないルートって何かあるっけな。いうこと聞いていって、
when Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
右か。
he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
右で無視していって、
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
最初左側に入りましたは無視して、さらに無視して違う方に行く。
Stanley was so bad at following directions,
まだバカに
it's
してくんじゃん。
incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
はい。
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
おま
I
け？
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me.
彼女？
I'm asking
何の話を
for
している？
her.
さっきのババアか？
This is it, Stanley. Your
Huh?
chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let
何言って
her
んの？
back into your life. She's been waiting.
何の話をしてる？うん。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
誰？
Okay, there we go.
誰だ？
All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
いや、
Gotcha! Oh, come on.
は？
Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
え、怖いからやめてほしいんやけど。
This is a very sad story about the death of a man
何？
named Stanley.
嫌だ、俺は従わん。押さんぞ、俺は。
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
このボタンを押すっていう行動自体が俺が操作されてるってか、しょうがねえじゃん、話進まねえんだから。
Pushing buttons, doing exactly
何、
what
俺
he's told
が
to
スタンリーって
do.
こと？
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
仕事に疲れた主人公の妄想？
terribly.
この世界が？
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go
そ
through
もそもこの
either.
世界はこの
At last,
パラノイア野郎の
choice. It
想像
barely
の世界ってこと？
even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to
まあ
behold.
俺は言うこと聞いてなかったが。
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he
なんか面
began
白
to
的だ
fill
ね
it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round
いや、
room
完全にスターリーがパラノイア野郎
with
って感じになってる
mind
じゃん。
controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
おっ
And
とおっ
down
とおっとお
another
っと
was a game with a
それはなかっ
baby.
た。
And he called it the Stanley Parable.
あ、なんか汚れてきてないか？
It was such a wonderful fantasy,
Huh?
and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and
何？
again, over
これ
and
は
over,
スタンリー
wishing
の
beyond
妄想
hope
の
that
繰
it
り
would
返しっ
never
て
end,
こと？
that he might always feel
ゲーム
this
自体
free.
が？
Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
おい、やべ、急にホラーみたいなことをやめてくれよ。
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality,
あれ？
all he's doing is
だんだん
pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing
俺
has
のいた
changed.
事
The
務所
longer
に
he spends here,
な
the
っ
more
てきてないか？
invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
何？愛する妻とかどうのこうのって記憶自体がそもそもなくて、これ、俺の事務
And
所に
I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do
っ
not
て言われてもだっ
do
て
it.
話が進まないから俺は押す。
You see?
グ。
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
帰ってきちゃった。
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want
こ
him
のボタン
to.
を押し、この
I don't
行
make
為自
the
体が
rules.
スター
I
リーの仕
simply
事
play to my
っていう
intended
こと。
purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose.
Hmm?
I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again,
Good.
and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
なんだそのボタンを押す仕事に駆られてるっていうか、いや、ゲームをやってる俺らのこと言ってる。そういうこと？世界の皮肉かい？言う通りにボタンを押す生活を幸せと思ってる。つまりゲームをやってる人間を全てを皮肉ってるこのゲーム。そんな気がしてきた。すごいな。ちょっともう一回のルート行こう。 うせえバーカ。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made
もう
for
急
you?
に
Well,
ゾッとする
fine.
話を展開してくるやん。
Dork anyway, so who cares?
あ、戻っちゃったよ。インプットが。あれそういうこと？さっきのところって回避できる流れあったっけ？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
右行って。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
右行ってここスルーして。
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
さら
left.
に右に行く、このまままっすぐ行くと逃れようがなかったっけ？逃れようあったか？あったっけ？
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years
自
ago.
分の意思死んでみる？
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
まあ、特に大きな流れはないのか。うせえ。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine.
俺はもうほぼ初回プレイやからわかんねえんだよ、それが。ああ、出た。これ何なんだろう。あ、なんやろ。電源切らんうちにこれをため切ればなんかいろんな話になるのかな。じゃあ、まあいいや。もう一回、じゃあ右から終わらすか。右が
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on
面
his
白くてつい
left.
ついやっちゃうなんで、こっち行くともう持っていかれるから、こっち行
And
っ
so he
て、
detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on
もう
track.
ここで分岐ってなかったっけ？無視してした。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
あ、やべ、あ、これ、失敗したな。
from here it's,
あれか、やったな。
left.
これ投げ
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
これって逃げ切れるんか、ストーリー。
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
こいつを混乱させる方の
It's
話でし
clearly...
ょ？
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yeah,
面白いね、やっぱ、
okay,
スターリー
okay,
は。
yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
で、ネタバレ食らって、
No.
あ、
This
じゃあ
isn't
正
right
規
at
ル
all.
ート
You're
の
not
方で
supposed
なん
to
か
be here
そうだ
yet.
そうだ
This is all a
ちゃんと言うこ
spoiler.
と聞いたか
Quick,
ら
Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to Oh, who am I kidding?
まあとりあえずこれやるか
Rubbish now.
もう全
The
然ダ
whole
メだわ
story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense,
コ
we'll
ンフュー
just
ズエンドでしょ
restart
こ
the
れ
game
が
from
コ
the
ンフューズ
beginning.
エンドって
And this
分岐あん
time,
のかな？
suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
あ、押せねえ。あ、押せねえ。まあいいか。じゃこれでいくと、ここでドア消えてるパティーンとか増えてるパティーンでしょ。
When Stanley...
あ、一緒か。
Wait,
うわ
what? No,
これ分岐ない気がするな。これ左か。あとは。あ
This is the story
あ、
of...
部署。うせえばーか。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
で、左ちゃんと行って。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
ちゃんと言うこと聞いて。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
気になるのはこっちは特にないのかな。で、こっちのエレベーターもあれ開かんくなってる。あれ何やったんや。もう一個。あ、押せた。うわ、これアリスタート2つ。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
落ち着いたニューエイジミュージックじゃなくて。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
で、ちゃんと言うことをそっと聞いて一応下に向かいます。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
わかりました。じゃあ戻りますと。戻りましたよと。
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and nope, still on board with death.
いや、これ怒られるから、あんま行くと怒られるから、もう一回戻るか。いや、死はすぐそこにあるんですじゃねえよ。じゃあまあ一旦戻ってね。これね。最後、オンにするパターンか。それでいいか。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
これで、こっち行って、こっちして。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
で、昇降機上げて。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible.
ここがネタバレゾーン。明るいできたのね。あるやん、やっぱ。そういうゾーンが。
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
そんななんかこう感情込みに言われても。
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For... Oh, Stan, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do, for example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent. Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to me. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning you on? I mean, look at you, running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Sold? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. Here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then no ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Let it go peacefully. Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the journey. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever.
やられた。で、ほぼほぼいろんなとこ見たかね。じゃあこれで雇すとこ、まあまあほぼほぼ見たでしょうと。まあ、気になるのあれか。パソコンのなんかチェックボタン触ってるかどうかだけ確認して。この世界のパソコンの全部触れば隠しっぽいのが取れるんだろうな、あれきっと。どこあったっけ？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
これ正しいルールになっちゃうのか。ここからなんか狂わない？
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
そうね。あ、さっきの電話のやつってどこだっけ？あれ、俺電話のどうのこうのって、妻がどうのこうのはどこの選択肢ある？
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
あれはどこだ？あ、いた。これ何なんだろうな、ここ。たまに開くんだよな。どこにも行かないんだよね、このエレベーター。裏でナレーターの人が楽しそうに3で1じゃなかった今。ここへってナレーターがやっぱ、多分これナレーターが楽しむだけやな。おい。あれ、さっきの電話のエンドってどこやったかな？
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah blah blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons.
雑じゃない？あれ？
Hey, look, it's a
あ、早くない？あれ？
surprise.
あれ？おかしいな。早いな、なんか。さっきの電話のルートだ。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
あれ、こ
Facility.
この左は潰されるエンドだよな。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
潰されるエンドじ
The
ゃない
door
こ
behind
っ
him
ちじゃ
was
ないん
not
か。
shut. Stanley still
ああ、
had every
右のあれ
opportunity
か。
to turn
貨物
around
のとこ
and
ろ行
get
った
back
ル
on
ートか。
track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
ここはババアルートだよね。ババアゾーンだ。ババアゾーンに来て、だよね。前
As the machine
回
whirred into
は
motion and Stanley was inched
ババアゾ
closer
ーン
and
を超えた
closer
後
to
に
his
あれがちゃんとリセットしたけ
It
ど、リセット
reflected
しない
that
場合
his
か
life
と。
had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
ここからババアゾーンでしょ。
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
誰がババアゾーンの話があるんやってな。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
多分これは神
When
の存在
every
でしょ。
path you could
こ
walk
こ
has
は
been
分かりまし
created
た。
for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the
し
same.
そのあっち生きる
Do
こ
you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
つい来るたび見ちゃうからやめてほしいな。警備員。ちょっと上手くなってたんだよね。警備員さんの声を。ちょっと待って。ネタバレ食らうからささっと行こう。この神の領域はダメだ。あ、でもあれか、ここで分岐がある程度わかんだよな。アルファはね、フリーダムエンド。要はその、メインのやつね。カウンターです。はいはい。ああ、そうね。一番、メインな。で、これで、
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
さすがにやばい、手元で2機が起動する。で、このオンで、じゃあこれオフで、確か、死はどうのこうのってくるから、You can't jump。チャリマンでジャンプしようとしてんじゃないです。ポチン。で、
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
で、ここで、
But listen
これ
to
は
me.
ちゃんと
You
リセ
can
ットじゃない
still
ですか。
save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way
ゲー
to
ムをやらない
win
こと
this
が、
game.
このゲームの
As long as you move forward,
Sure you
you'll be
can.
walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let
Sayonara.
time choose for you. Don't let time...
俺は決してリスタートを押さない。おお、戻された。OK。で、まあか。
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
多分もう1個ぐらいかな。細かい。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, truly, deeply, madly,
どうした急に
love.
どうした慣れた
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so captivating that even though but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
こっちでしょ
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
でバカ
incredible
に
he
されながら
wasn't
もこっ
fired
ち行
years
っ
ago.
て妻の話だそうそうこっちは妻の話だこれ
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please.
Really?
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
気になってさ。
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
いや、足元に足場あったら気になるじゃんか。
Prove it.
何
Prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
何気になるじゃん、足場あったら。どこ
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
いややけど。いや、これたまんだな。
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel...
恋人かお前。
I actually feel happy.
さっきはちょっと怖いんだけど。帰っていいかな、俺。
No, wait. Where are you going?
いや、ちょっとキモいからさ、なんかお前が。
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Good,
good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here. No. What did we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You are going to stay here, aren't you?
でもなあ、もう構ってくれない。じゃあ僕死にます。
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
すげえ怒られる。じゃあもう一回だけもう君が反応してくれるんなら俺そこに帰るよ。反応せんかったら俺はもうそのままちょっと余生を過ごすから。なんかちょっと綺麗になっとるしさ。あ、俺が死ぬのはお前のせいやわ。それしかどうも俺の生きる道はないらしい。死ぬしか生きる道はない。死こそ救い。いいね、転生。今までありがとう。楽しかったよ。ナレーター。Say goodbye.
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
今度頭から行こう。
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
ちょっと話しないでくんな、じゃあ。でも歩くのめっちゃ教わってる。おい、急にリアル出すのやめろよ。
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
本当にここで待ってたら幸せなこと起こる？もうだいぶ思んないけどな、この時点で。無理や。ちょっとスタンリーだいぶボコボコで動きめっちゃなってるけど。はあはあ。ダメっぽいな。いや、ダメっぽいな。諦めんなよ、俺の死に対する執着を。ふっと冷静になって。
Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
ちょっとかわいそうになってきたな。牛からどう？Or
maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
ちょっと悲しくなってくるな。
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
別に案外ここにいるエンドとかもありそうやからつい戻ってきてるだけの話。ちょっと綺麗になってるし。
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
ダメやわ。君のリアクション次第やけど、君のリアクション良くないから俺はちょっと次の世界に行くわ。おっせえやし。貴様の剣では死なん最後で落ちるか。怒られる？ちょっとかわいそうになってきたらドキドキするんやけど。貴様の剣では死なん。
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
ちょっとかわいそうになってしまったな。このエンドは。あれ
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
と見せかけていかない。まだ俺本編終わってないんじゃい。
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway.
いちいちチクッとなんかこう言ってことやめてくれへんから。で、右ルートのちゃんと行って、電話ルート。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
これ人の実況見たくなるな。
The lounge was grand.
そんな、なんかラウンジの説明変わってないずっと。
Like a combination of a much smaller version and a much larger version of this exact room. It all made Stanley uncomfortable. He started to bleed a little. This made him smile. At last, proof that he was human.
なんかこの部屋についての解説は毎回おかしくなってる気がするが。
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
じゃなくて、こっちってパソコンないかな。で、
Stanley was so bad at
製
following
図室に
directions.
こうやっ
It's
て、さっ
incredible
き
it
はこ
wasn't
こで
5
さらに
years
抜けちゃ
ago.
ったから、抜けずに、こうちゃんと行く。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps
これ
we've
は抜け
gotten
たよ
off
な。
on the wrong
俺も
foot
よう、
here.
俺がいいの
I'm
もない
not
けど、よう
sure
気づい
anything.
たわ。
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
はい。でよ。
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her
彼
back
女の
into
話を
your
してたね、
life.
これ。
She's been waiting.
She's been waiting っつって、
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
で、まゆさんがエ
To
ピッツ
reach
始め
out
て
to、her. If you can truly place your faith in another, Then pick up the phone.
本当にじゃあ出ませんけど。てかうるせえな。
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that?
電話線のプラグじゃねえよ。
Chose incorrectly.
なめるなよ。
I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
2P 線じゃないんけ、お前。
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife.
お前の誤算はあれ、俺が弱電業者ってことや。
Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything.
怒るなよ、俺の選択やぞ。
How on earth are you making meaningful choices?
やってんのもう。
Wait a second. Did I just see? No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
ご存知、私は五十嵐と申します。どうも。
I can't believe I was so mistaken.
はじめまして。
This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you've made any more wrong choices,
逆にお前を俺が走らせて、俺が走らせて。
It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
でもなんか世界は壊れてるんだけど。はい。ここですか。
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying.
柵つけたね。
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense.
赤ちゃんの
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
精神病棟じゃねえんだから本当。戻れって。帰ってきたけど。でもこれ多分スタンリーじゃないよ。この意思決定。
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
ノギーな、この人。だからもう多分この世界俺ダメやと思う。だいぶ怖いことになってるから多分ダメよ。きっと。ああ、もうだいぶよ。この世界。あれ、強制かい？ああ、じゃあしょうがないな。
It's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. What am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to control it, worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. I'm here. I'm still here in this pile of rubbish. With you, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
ちょっと確かにひねくれた感もあったけど。いや、思ってたけどさ。
Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley?
めっちゃ怒られる。
He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn reason for it.
はいはい。
That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it?
確かに。
That there's a
俺は
world
俺の世界
outside
だと
of
思っ
you.
てた。確かにね。
You're a child.
まあまあまあ、理解はしてる。
Story.
すごいがっかりしてる。
If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
あれ途中で切られた。
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
ちょっと待って、いよいよ反応してくれへんやん。あれ俺も。
No! Why did you do that?
遅いな。
Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would.
もう一回だけ。
Choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No! あかん、もうこいつ、もう無理よ。あ、
exactly as
わかった
Stanley
わかったわかった
would.
よ。
That means
さすがに
choosing
分かったって。
responsibly and
俺
always
進め
putting
たい
the
し。
story first. I'm quite
ご
sure
めんっ
you'll
て
be
な
up
れ
to
た。
the task. Just follow my
さす
lead
が
and you'll
に。
be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
もう多分俺ダメやと思うよ、この世界。どうせ。あれおあ
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
崩壊してない。あ、ここ開かないから変わってるわ。あ、ちょっ
To a staircase, Stanley walked
おい
upstairs to his
いけなく
boss's
してやんけ、お
office.
前。あれこんなんやったっけ。あ、いいか。あれ看板消えてる。もう赤ちゃんちゃうんやからさ。あ、もういらんこと全部できんくなってる。あれどここれ。
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
ああ、ええやな。緑で目にいいし。絵の趣味はちょっとどうかと思うけど。
Stanley spoke the code.
はい、はい、
Night
なんすか。
115.
あ、で、は
He
い。
spoke it into the receiver.
今お前咳払いせんかったな。なるほどね。でもライト消えてんじゃん。あれか、今 SDGs もあるし。
I'm sorry, is there a
はい
problem?
はい
You
はい。
didn't mishear me,
はい
did
はい
you?
はい。
Please speak the code into the receiver.
はい
Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a
わかりました。
crucial
わかりました。
step.
わかりました。そっか、やっぱ抜くことによって電力消費とかだいぶ抑えてるんやろな。
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
え？俺は誰？
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay?
いや、俺は誰だ？
I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
スタンリーから俺が分離した。
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision.
俺の意思が外れた。
Without you, do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take a step forward, please. Choose. Do something.
うわ。
Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me?
いや、そういうの、俺はそこにいなくなってしまった。すまん。
Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right
俺はスタニーじゃなくなってしまったよや。俺は俺になったようです。うわ、何その悲しいエンド。無限に、 そうなると、さっきのところで、俺は全然ルート覚えてない。ちゃんと音声認識した場合か？全然このゲーム終わらんぞ。おもろくて。
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I'm here? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
でもそのルート全然覚えてないな。俺どうやって行った？左じゃん。当然右ルートで戻ってきたよな。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors.
そうだ、右ってやつ
This
だ。
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
行き過ぎてめっちゃ怒られ
Perhaps
て
he
きた
wanted
み
to
たい。
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
はいはい。
And here it was, the lounge. What a room, Stanley thought to himself. What a room, what a
なんか
room.
毎回説明変わってないかな、うんちも。
This is what Stanley thought. What a room.
わかったよ、何回もやるの。わかった、わかった。わかったよ。
What a room.
わかったよ。
Va-va-voom. What a room.
わかったよ。もう、ラウンジの説明適当になりすぎやから。
Eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
あれか、電話無視ルートから戻ってきて、
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
もしかしてそもそも音声認識ができないからあれが固定ルートなのか
Look,
しれない
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been
で、ここで赤ちゃんみたいにもう落下死できなくされて、
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
そうだ、電話ルートの裏入ってくとあんなことやってしまうのか。
I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley.
彼女をほのめかされ
Your chance to
て、
redeem yourself.
はいはい
To
と
put
言いな
your
がら、
work aside.
で、
To let her back
で
into
電
your
話ド
life.
ンの、
She's been waiting.
シンプルに無視してみようか、今回。
That's
電話
how
線抜かずに。
You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in
これ
another.
気になるんだよな。電話線って言いながらコンセントなんだよな。お前電話線の構造分かってないじゃんね。局から電話線がメタル線、いわゆる実線が伸びてきて、局から電圧とともに信号が送られてくるわけよ。だから電話には基本的には電源がいらないんだ。ディスプレイ付きの、ね、あれに、コードレス電話とかのじゃなくて、家庭用電話の場合はコードレスっていうの違うな。電源はいらない。その通信機から電気ごと送られてきてるから。だからこれがタップになってるっていうのはなかなかのエアップというか、多分新しい人が作ってる話、はよ切れへんかな。これ以上アナログ電話について語ることあんまないんやけど。停電電話の話とかのしてもいいけど、ないからさ、そんなに。でも着物の電話黄色なんか。黄色ってなんかすごいよな。あんまり見ないもんね。あれ、ナチュラル無視してもダメ？はいはいはい。
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice.
いや、そうか。しまった。これが入るのか。いや、もう完全に押し答えるよ。
But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would be. This way, please.
あれか、現実の俺とスタンリーが分離しちゃったエンドやから、俺はサニー、俺はサニー、落ちれなくなってる。ここの分岐作るのはめんどくさかった。すごい、やった俺に文句ってくるんだな。久々に飲む酒やし、久々、20時間ぶり。で、ちゃんと言うこと聞いて、ちゃんと。
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free.
で、ここでちゃんと言うこと聞いて、崩壊させるのやめよう。
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would.
ここに戻って
That
こさ
means
れた
choosing
俺は、
responsibly and
俺は
always
五十嵐
putting
な
the
くしまった
story
な、さっきは。
first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just
これマジ
follow
で
my lead and you'll
他の人がやってるのを見たくなるな。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
今回はじゃあ。で、音声認識っていうのはそもそもできない可能性があるんだよね。さっき俺はひねくれた。
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find him. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
ナイトシャーク115とかって。あ、無理や。おう。え
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark
あ、これダメだ。
He spoke it into the receiver right there on the wall.
やっぱそうだね。俺はそのスタンリーとして喋れないからできないわ。そもそもで。ナイトシャーク115っていうのを発言するのは無理だ。ある。俺は声を出せない。
Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
俺じゃあこういうラストなんだね。俺は無理だ。そもそも俺はナイトシャーク115という発声ができません。
Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly.
じゃあ一回じゃあラストに一回終了してついに横の排水口入ってあげます。排水口っていうか通気口入ってあげよう。おはようございます。またすだな。
Stanley, come over here. In the vent.
このゲーム俺そんなにやってなかったから、この追加要素をするのがちょっと心苦しくてやらんかったら見てやろう。多分ほとんどのエンディング見たでしょう。まあ10分の7とかそんなレベルやと思う。そうですね。追加したものはよくわからなかったですね。
So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all
普通にこういうとこ行きたいな。
Oh, the
ウォーキングプレス、ウィップ。ああ、これね、地下の、地下の死亡エンドのやつね。はいはいはいはい。やっぱ見る順番が間違ってたな。さっき最初に最初というか、一回エンディング見た後に速攻こう来ちゃって、あれ、これ俺が見てはいけないエンドがもういっぱいなのではってスルーしたんだよな、さっき。そして画面の汚れが気になって拭く男。再び。違うな、これ。俺の画面が汚れてるんじゃなくて、壁汚れが汚れてた、これ、さては。また。壁の汚れ。壁の汚れ。壁の汚れとともにモニターの汚れも見える。それで気になる。拭き。はい。両方気になる。拭き。あ、これは壁の汚れやった。なるほどね。よし、やろう。
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them. And now, it's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk. with an hour of new elevator
そうね、新しいエレベーターのコンテンツにあれがあって言われてちょっと辛かったよね。オリジナル。はい。さっきこの辺で切っちゃったんだよな。俺また多分見てない世界だなと思って。
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content.It just needed to be left alone to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video games.
俺は再販版から買ってるからさ、その再販版の前の歴史の解雇中みたいなこといけへんし。おい、おい。あ？え？あ？いけへんぞ。これ意図的なもん。ザ・シリアスルー真面目なんよ。おい、いけんぞ。おい。これじゃ。
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on.I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
不穏なんやけど。は？スチームの宣伝はええねんな。
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam.
Or
online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years.I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! Trying to be funny? I'm trying to make a serious work of art.I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
ほんまにあったやつなんかな、これ。あったんやろな、きっと。ムカついたんやろな。ちょっと待って。あれなんか、方向が、すごい、このゲーム誇らしいみたいなこと言いながら、スチームの評価のところが、雨降り出して暗くなってきたけど、あれなんか、空気感おかしなってきたな。あ、あれもしかしてスチームの評価が良くなかった。ゲーム。あれ
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachy gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I?
いやー、説教臭いっすね。
This is actually quite shocking for me.
まあ、説教臭いっすかね、ほどほどに。
I always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. I can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to.
これ、どうなんリアルになったやつなんだけど、これリアルやな。
I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
ナレーター先生はあなたの立ち位置がよくわかんねえよ。確かにもはやなんか潜入みたいになってるけど、スタンリーに対する。このいい感じのガスで俺 FPS やりてえよ。銃を取り出してくれ。あとジャンプ。あ。
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then
めっちゃ気にしてるやん、説教臭いこと。確か俺もちょっと思ってたよ。思ってはいたけど。どうした？
I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
いいの？いいんですか？あ、スキップボタンや。もしかして、この壮大な前振りから実装するスキップボタンとか言わんやな。まさかな。
Here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary... Oh, well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the words.
いや、うるさいんだよな。
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe
結構飛んでるね。
45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the steps are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than any... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh my goodness. I have someone... Stanley,
I've... 1週間
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just
スキップボタン怖っ。
a single person to speak.
スキップボタンのメタやめろや。
That's just how it's always been, right?
ちょっと押しづら的な。
And you saying nothing.
アクティブしてる。
Would you think that it's exactly the same as always?
スキップのあれだね。皮肉だね。
Just talking, but it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and simultaneously. I was consumed. I could do nothing but wallow.
早かったね。あれ？慣れた？慣れた？あ、ついた。慣れた？慣れたさん？あれ？慣れたさん？おーい。特に時計の電池が切れて動かないんだけど。慣れたさん？今、僕は何年経ったんですか？このスキップで。慣れたさん？慣れたさん？あれ？押すしかないか。 じゃあ、これで次は何十年飛ぶんだ？何百年か。あ、崩壊してる。あの後。時計も落ちて、草も枯れ果てて。なんだ？何もかもが止まった。次は何千年か飛ぶのか。
But they didn't understand the game was
ああ、
never meant to be
あ
free.
あ、
It was
ああ、慣れ
without
た。
point.
あ
It was meant to
慣れた。
speak to the
すごい喋ってる。
But where are the jokes?
すごい喋るじゃん。
They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said,
ちょっと懐かしい話を聞かせてくれ。
It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs
すごい
down
喋るじゃん。
and make all of their pitiful
はいはい
demands.
はい
But
はい
then he's talking too much. They said,
はい
first he
はい
didn't entertain us. Now he went,
はい
shut up. It's the
やめろ。押してし
inconsistency.
まう。
It's the
押してし
lack
まう
of
ぞ、お前。
accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with
や
an
めろ。
uncompromising
やめろ。
heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequence.
ああ、待って、緊急の光さえ消えた。やっと喋り始めたなと思ったけど。ポチョン？水漏れしてる？ついに。特になんもないらしい。じゃあ俺はまたこの世界をスキップするぜ。あれ？どうした？テンションが。怖いよ。怖いよ。怖い怖い怖いよ。怖い怖い怖い。怖い怖い怖い怖い怖い。あれ？ボタンも起動しなかった。あ、戻ってきた。これどんだけなってんの？スキップボタンで。あれ？水漏れがひどくなってる。この施設が崩壊していってる？あまりの年月で。あ、出れるんじゃない？もうちょっとしたら。水漏れどころじゃなくて崩壊してる。崩壊？風化？あ。ああ、そっちの方向性で行く？ああ。そういう感じでいきますか？ああ。多分これ文明滅びてますよね。安全に。でもその場に一部風化しもしないしな。よくわかんない世界観だな。ああ。え？は？核戦争でも起こったか？おい、待ってくれよ。え？すべてが闇に包まれた。え？瓦礫量砂でしょ。え？火山か核の炎に包まれたか。 伺い知ることはできないが。あれここ自体崩壊してきてる？あっというか崩壊した。壊れた。スキップボタンも。ああ、確かにこんな設備やった。そうだ。ここってそもそもあいつが作った地下設備から入ってきたんだよ。そうだそうだ。いろんなモニュメントがあったとこから。そうだ。そうだわ。崩壊した。すべてが。は？スキップボタン一つに皮肉言い過ぎでは？さすがに。スキップボタンを実装しろっていうことはこういうことやぞっていうことを言いたいんやろうけど、さすがにではお前ら皮肉がすぎるって。あれもうそうだ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
あれ急にあれ普段あれどういうこと？
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
あれあ、普通の世界観に戻った。
Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, no, no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
I
have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
417。あ、また戻って。あ、ダメだ。そっか、ニューコンテンツ終わりか、あれで。まあ気づくよ。さすがにさ。さすがによ。いや、何度拍子やった？直にこっちです、今回は。これがニューコンテンツでいいんですよね。
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further, which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
全然期待できんけど。
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel, an entirely new experience built from the ground up. Why there are so many possibilities? It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
意識の高そうな事務所はもう嫌なんだけど俺。
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe.
それはそうやけどさ。
Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2,
言うたもん勝ちみたいな感
that's
じ
an
がすごいんだけ
artistic
ど。
statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and
うるさいな。
innovation and long-term franchising potential.
さっき数万年数億年ほったらして悪いけどさ。うさんくささがすごいんだけど。ほんまか？実際こんな事務所あるけど。
I haven't quite nailed down what exactly
あ、
the
ほ
Stanley
んまの
Parable
話してんの？
2 is
作
going
っ
to
てんの？
be. But let's take a look at some of the features I've been
嘘なん
developing
かが
for
ど
it.
うか嘘やわ。
I figure
嘘や
if
わ。
I can loosely organize a handful of
じゃあ
interesting
嘘やわ。
concepts,
これ
then
は。
surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them.
だんだん
It'll
雑や
all
みたい
work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
クソ雑いもん。もう。じゃあ、気に食わんけど、まあ。まあ。うっとうしいな、この順番守らせる感じ。はい。
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
はい。2の話ですか。T シャツ売ってまっけど。ちょっと欲しいな。いや、雑いな。いや、雑いわ。ちょこちょこ小探しの
Stanley
話すな。
Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually
じゃあそれ
recognized
どうでもいいよな、
and
ボタンの
validated
サイ
as
ズはな。
people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is
ボタンの話を
this
してる。
button which speaks the name of the person playing the
ボタン
game.
で says the name
Isn't that wonderful?
says the name of the player that is playing the game.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now,
Oh,
the
Jim
button
Jam,
only
yeah.
says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say
ほ
your
んまか？
name, whatever
どの
name
名
that
前を言う？
is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
すごい
Just
な。
play along. I promise
じゃあ
you.
俺がジムやとしてね。
Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath,
俺
clear
ジム、
your
俺ジ
mind,
ム。
forget whoever you are, and simply become
俺
a
はジムだ。
person named
俺は
Jim.
ジムだ。
I want you to imagine yourself living as
ジム
Jim,
になった。俺は。
sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as
時に
Jim,
ジミーと呼ばれ。
seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the
え？
backstory.
もういい
If
じゃん
you
か。
don't roleplay as Jim, then you'll never
いいよ、
understand
ジム
the
のロープレイ
impact
の
of this
話は。
button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become
はい。
Jim. Imagine yourself driving
ちょっ
to
と変わっ
work
てる
as
けど、趣
Jim,
味が。
playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done. with
ケ
it.
ラウィアじゃ
Why
ねえ
don't
んだ
you
よ。
go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button says. But
Jim.
no.
Jim.
Instead,
Jim.
oh,
Jim.
I can't even
Jim.
think about it.
Jim.
I'm taking the
Jim.
Jim button
Jim.
away.
Jim.
あ、あ
Jim. 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 Jim.
あ回収された。怒られた。バカにしてたら怒られた。くそー。2であなたの名前を昨日やったはずやのにな。ジムボタンにしか思えんかったけど。 じゃあ何を2に実装するニュー機能を教えるの？
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They
逆説的に
would
言った
appreciate
ね。
what I've
まあ
created.
だろうね。ジャンプサークル。ジャンプサークルはもういいよ。あ、これ俺なの？スタッツニューって書いてるけど。あんなの分かりづらいな。ジャンプサークル。ジャンプサークルはなんかさっき言われたけど。ある
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley
それ
Parable
さっき
2
見たけ
as
ど。
well. It's oh wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
ジャンプもうさせてもらえないの？ジャンプボタン実装そんな難しいかな？ Free new easy achievement マジ？アチーブメントもらえるのここで。It just worked. はい。なんかす
Now
げえ。
here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
実績を欲しがる野郎への皮肉はもうええねんな。なるほどね。別に俺実績気にしたことないけどね。人生で今まで。プレステといい、Xbox の時から。むしろ邪魔とすら思ってる。
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
ザッツにはこれ見てないよ、俺。これ全部の。
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your own life.
じゃあゲットしよう。画面作んなよ。あえあとなんかあるんですか？
It really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
もうあとあとインフィニットホール無限の穴。はい。なんですかその機能は。まあちょっとそれで見る。これ何？ノースクリーンショット、写真撮らないで。
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration.
そんな機能いらないですけど。
But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Get Well Someday ってもう12歳じゃあこっちで。
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is.
死んでほしい。
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with...
でしょうね。うん。俺もそう思う。
I've made my decision. We're moving on.
その機能は実装すべきじゃないと思うよ、俺は。リム。オープニング、デプス、インフィニット。雑！設計図が雑なんだわ。もう。今度、イクルーヌからのジャスケープが多い。うん、雑いのよね。これはボーリングマシンかな雑いのよね、無限に対する考察が。
Here's an idea that I'm truly fond of.
はい。
It's never been done
はい
before
はい
in a
はい。
video
何ですか
game. This is in fact a hole
マジ
that
無
you
限
can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunningly forward.
割とよくあると思うけど俺、ゲームに。じゃあ、行ってみます。おー。
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
よくバグったゲームに見てね、これ。
Since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
あるわ。でもちょっとどこまで行けるか。
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
でもインフィニットって言ってるぐらいやしね。
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Hey, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. 今の日本人にはさ、デイリークエストっていう最強の味方がいるからよ。ナレーターとの勝負に負ける気がしねえんだよな。勝負？俺勝負してたか、ナレーターと。ほんまになんもない感じ。知らないな。Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yeah, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter? But feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing that... Oh, okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the whole infinite, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, my God. You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
なくなんじゃねえかいよいよ。聞こないっす、今お前押しやすい。
teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an
じゃあ、こ
explanation.
のマシャ
Still
ナ、マジッ
nothing.
ク出すか。
Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
穴はいい。穴はいいな。はあ、人類には酒とソシャゲのデイリーという無限の時間があるから。え？なんかメリメリ言ってない？気のせいか。まあ別に1時間だろうか2時間だ。あれ？ちょっと待って。なんか、あれ？結構待たさずに行ったな。こっちを。なんか壮大なのもあるんですな。視点を変える。いや、別にいや、別に、その機能、いらない。いらない。これが、認識を変える？これが一番おもろいよ。かわいい。何急に。これでいいよ。あんなやっぱ自信を変える。え？はい、なんですか？まだ今だいぶ楽しくなんですか？だいぶ楽しくなってきたけど、あれ？いや別に。いやしばらくはほどもいいけど。全然ここでいいけど。ちょっと入ってくるよ。
To keep you really, truly focused on the hole.
Okay. また、じゃあ俺あんなに行くわ。
You and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back.
ちょっとしばらく楽しくまた今度ええでな。ちょっと行ってくるわ、じゃあまた。あれ？こうやってきた。なんで？
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
なこれ。リシュラスバケット。アンシュリングバケツ。こんなんあったっけ？
A
common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine the pain in the ass? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
Oh, そうかな。俺バケツに安心感を求めたことないからわかんねえけど。
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be seen.
このゲームしゃがめたの今更ながら。
Can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable too.
は？帰っていいですか？
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
ニュープラスイージーアーカイブ、ニュープラスイージーそんなこと書いてあったっけ？それでいいと書いてたと思うけど。これ合ってないな。バケツ邪魔なんだわ。このゲームでバケツ使えると全く思えんしなんや。マイクラが何回のアンチテーゼでもしてんのか。インフィニティホール見たでしょ？サークルジャン見たでしょ？あ、いいじゃん。あ、帰れんじゃん。帰ろう。帰りましょうよ。無駄やわ、こんな施設。別のことやろうと思ったらできんかったやん。施設長すぎて。帰ろう。バケツ邪魔やけど。
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
そうね。ほどほどにはいいんじゃないですか。この施設はクソやったけど。スタンリーこと俺や。長スクリーンショット取らねえよ、こんなとこ。
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Huh?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Hi.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and insert a few of my new features into it.
Oh, run,
Tastefully, of course, with respect, with care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up.
それちゃちゃっと作んなよ。
Perfect. Go ahead.
はい。
Take a
どん
look.
な感じするんですか、2は。えどうしようか。ああメタルギアっぽい。ネタ抜きのもん作るんじゃないよ。てかバケツも無限の穴も人形集めの実績もねえし。真面目に作るな。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
ちょっと待って。終わった。あれ本編始まっておった。あれ風船要素追加されてる。あれこれ2だわ。これ2ですわ。言ってた2の、これ多分穴出てくるぞ。これ2の要素入ってるね、ちゃんと。バケツ。
Why was he not doing it?
これ、普通に聞いたかった。
Stanley picked up the bucket.
バケツの要素ね。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
これは2だよな。
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd
ないと
find
思うけど
answers.
な。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket
スタン
walked
リーとバケ
upstairs
ツ
to the
登
boss's
場人物でや
office.
ってもうてっけど。そう言うんなら。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not
What
an
happened?
indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing
バケツ
presence
いや
of the bucket.
いや別にバケツ癒されじゃないけど
In
ね。
his darkest of hours, did the bucket's
い
warmth
や
and
いや
guiding
全
light
然
pierce the dark clouds of
全
confusion
然
and chaos?
バケツの役立ってねえ
It
わ
would。be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it.
いや
The two of them were inseparable.
言い切るな言い切るな。
At this point, Stanley was so
長いな。
absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 28. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew
いや
all along?
バケツは関係ないよ。俺の記憶力の問題や。
This is certainly the most
捨ててこ
logical
れ。
explanation.
これ捨てていってよかったな、バケツ。実績を去ったわ。
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward
すい
for
ません、
collecting
報酬は
all
ない
of
で
these.
す。
Only
して
the
してよ。
intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
それはあらかじめ言われ
You
て
can't
から
buy
さ
that sort of
すごいや
happiness,
つ文句はない
Stanley.
の
God
よ。
knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every
そこに文
moment
句はないけ
you
ど、
come
それを
across one of these
言及
beautiful
されるのがちょっと
figurines.
腹立つなってぐらいの話で。何やねん、こいつマジで。
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not
いや
for the
バケ
bucket.
ツは関係ねえっつってるだ
Soothing
ろ。
him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything
捨て
will
て
be
今その
fine.
うちバケツ。
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
無限な中出てこねえな。
The lights rose on an enormous room.
俺もう寝たいんやけど。
Television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
バケツの冒険はもうええわいな。
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in short. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this.
バケツいよいよ人格持ってきてないかい。
Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
バケツがもはや登場人物とかしてるやんけ。大丈夫だよじゃないんだよな。怖いな。
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does the bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raised furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
こんなどうでもいいバケツストーリーなかなかないけどね。
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never. He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
じゃあもうそれはもともとパラノイアだからもう無理よ。無理無理。このマインドコントロール抜きマインドコントロールされていくからさ。
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy.
じゃあバケツともに未来に通してやめるか。
Eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way. The bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
そういうならさすがに言うこと聞きたくなるけどさ。
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse at the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad. As long as I have my bucket with me, I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
狂ってる。 ってほで、2周目というか、追加部分はちょっとやったけど、狂ってるわ、このゲーム。なんで、ここちょっとじゃあ、バケツのない話とかやりたくなってくるじゃん。そうなってくると。全く、何が嫌やって、めちゃくちゃ不本意ってことやな。バケツを持ったストーリーの何が見たいねんっていう話だから。でも、なんか、やりたくなる変な魅力が腹立つわ。やるか、どっかでまた。どうでもいいのにな、バケツ持った主人公の話とか。めちゃくちゃ興味ないのにな。まあ、どっかでやるか。不本意で腹立つけど。よし、じゃあ、そういうことで今日は寝ます。お疲れ様でございました。こんな狂ったゲームやったっけな。この続編は一時停止中です。ちょっと待って。まあ待てよ。ちょっと、あれちょっと待って。ちょっと待ってよ。まあ、ちょっと待ってくれよ、これ。起動じゃついなるもしかして。ちょっとそれだけ見させてくれ。起動者どうなる？2だーということで、お疲れ様です。あわー